My name is Alexander Mankiev. I am an associate professor and full chair of Ukrainian ethnography at the Department of Modern Languages and Cultural Studies at the Faculty of Arts and director of the Kule Folklore Centre at the University of Alberta. Both the Kule Folklore Centre and the University of Alberta are located on Treaty 6 territory, the land of many indigenous peoples and the homeland of Métis Nation. We respect the sovereignty, lands, histories, languages, knowledge systems, and cultures all of those nations. The Kule Folklore Centre is a leading research institution dedicated to the study of Ukrainian folklore, culture, traditions, and the everyday manifestations of identity. And today we are really glad to welcome you to the Kule Folklore Lecture series. We are pleased to host a lecture by Olga Zaitseva-Herz titled When Songs Go to War, Pop Music, Propaganda and Digital Soft Power in Russia's War on Ukraine. Olga Zaitseva-Herz is ethnomusicologist, currently a postdoctoral fellow at the Kule Folklore Centre. Originally from Dnipro, Ukraine, she received her PhD at the University of Alberta in 2022 with a dissertation on Ukrainian songs.
24.
I was 24. Okay, this is the. Yeah. In Canada, Ukrainian songs in Canada, examining transcultural circulation, memory, and diaspora. Her current research focuses on the role of popular music in Russia's war against Ukraine, with particular attention to propaganda, digital platforms, and AI-mediated musical production and dissemination. Her interdisciplinary work combines ethnomusicology, digital ethnography, and media studies, situating cultural production at the center of contemporary political processes. She has delivered guest lectures at the University of Alabama and the University of Illinois, and particularly in parallel with academic research, Dr. Zaitseva-Herz maintains an active practice as a performer and a composer. Her current creative work includes the contemporary opera project Bakhmut Rhapsody, which premiered at the Ukrainian Contemporary Music Festival in New York City in 2024. So I'm really glad to welcome Dr. Zaitseva-Herz with us today, and I'm transferring the floor to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alexander. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. This is such an extraordinary day with snow again, so I guess we just started with another cycle of winter. Or not, we will see. But yeah, thank you so much for being here despite the weather conditions. I am delighted to share my research with you today. This is a research that is more than a research for me. I really burned for this topic. When the full-scale invasion started, I was spending a lot of time on social media. Of course, as most of us who have family, friends over there, and I have noticed how powerful have songs become in this context. Not that I thought that they're not powerful before that, but this was definitely a new layer of understanding for me when I have seen which kind of roles do they play in this new context of this digital frontline as I perceived it. So studying songs that are spread through platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, Facebook, I have noticed, okay, this is something I really I really want to talk to other people about. I want to do research on this topic. So currently I'm writing a book on this, and I would love to share some of the insights. It's a big topic, but some of the aspects I can share with you today. So it is, of course, not new that songs participate in wars, that songs play important role in Ukrainian resistance against Russian domination, against war. This war, the full-scale invasion since 2022, is very special in this historical context because of how powerful this digital front has become. It was never before this way in the context of Ukraine-Russia relations. So for this reason, popular songs and popular performers has gained more weight in this communication because those are professional communicators in this context. So Yulia Sanina is one of the most famous Ukrainian singers. She's a front woman of the band Hard Kiss, made this statement: before the war, I was just a musician who created Ukrainian music in the Ukrainian language, and I aim to make our music popular in my own country. Now I have so much to do, as I'd say, is like being a cultural diplomat, says Yulia. Cultural diplomacy is a real term for what she's doing. Yulia was also a host of Eurovision Song Contest in 2023 after Ukraine won this contest in 2022, but it wasn't possible to conduct the contest in Ukraine because those are the rules of Eurovision, right? The country that wins with the song takes the contest for the next year in their country. So Ukraine, during the full-scale invasion, wasn't able to host it. So Yulia was host of this contest in Great Britain next year. So let's throw a short look into the history. This is one of the songs that were very meaningful in our history. Song Nepora, that was written, lyrics was written by Ivan Franko in 1880s already. And this song was especially important in the late Soviet period when it was reinterpreted as a coded message of resistance against Soviet domination. I guess you know the song that I'm going to play you a little bit. It is a song that has become a symbolic of Ukrainian resistance in the context of full-scale invasion. The song Oi у лузі червона калина, when Ukrainian popular singer Andrei Khlyvnyuk, who is a front man of the band Boombox, interrupted his North American tour and said, I'm going to go to the front because I need to defend my country. He decided to do so with this song. And I always have goosebumps when I talk about this because of how powerful it is. He didn't just say this, he didn't just post it, he didn't just sing it with another melody, but he took this song specifically to reference the circular nature of Ukrainian resistance against Russian domination, because the roots of this song are in the 16th century Cossack song. And there have been multiple Ukrainian revolutions and resistance movements where this song played an important role and symbolized the same values that we fight for today, is freedom and independence. So let's just throw a small look into this. Yeah, so more and more Ukrainian singers join him in this version. So this song is also a very good example of how these songs, how this war went digital. Because he recorded a small clip and it resulted in a multitude of versions of the song. Many bands around the world recorded their covers on the song to demonstrate support of Ukraine. For example, Pink Floyd, very famous band, they recorded a song published under the name Hey, Rise Up. Then the performer the Kifnes, recorded the kind of faster version of this song and added some keys and drums to that and chords, which is very meaningful in this context because he made the popular version of the song. So Khlivnyuk sang it a cappella. But the Kifnis created a version that played on discos, that played everywhere in the protest manifestations and gatherings. So it was a song which at the same time changed the perception of the harmony that many had in the song. And from musicological perspective, it's also very interesting that this war changed the way how we know and sing Ой лузі червона калина, because the melody has changed as well. For example, Хливнюк sang А ми тую червону калину підіймемо. And this was new because in the versions before it didn't go up. But now if you look into the versions that were recorded after 2022, they all do the same thing. So he brought this own note into this, and this is how songs remember the revolutions and wars. And yeah, so this was a version where many Ukrainian pop singers and celebrities joined this one. When Ukraine won Eurovision in 2022 with the song Stefania, performed by Kalush Orchestra, the performer decided to use this platform to speak to the world and show what is going on in Ukraine. So the internal contest, like when Ukraine was looking for someone who will represent Ukraine, took place several days before the full-scale invasion. Kalush won, and the version of the song Stefania that was existing back then was a bit different one compared to what was recorded later. So after the full-scale invasion started and the big contest took place in May, Kalush knew they will all listen to my song, right? They will look into us, and we will need to use this platform to speak to the world. So they included multiple documentary videos that demonstrated the crimes committed by Russian army in Ukraine to show to the world what's going on. Let's just throw a small look into this one as well. Hard to stop it. I love listening to this song. As you can hear, there are so many elements and so many motifs. So analyzing the song is really, really interesting. And there are so many symbolic elements that they decided to include here, both visually and also musically. But let's just jump over. So when I was in Ukraine last year, I have seen how the versions from the digital front, as I love calling this, also returned on land, and how the live performances that we have heard, we are hearing to in Ukraine right now on the streets, were played. So, for example, those are pictures from Lviv, and it was a very interesting context that I experienced every day when I was there, multiple bands and groups were playing together, not necessarily professional musicians, but just people who wanted to come on the street, go on the street and sing the songs to manifest, to express, to raise funds for Ukrainian army. Everybody was raising funds for Ukrainian army. And sometimes they were so close to each other. So there was depending on where you were standing on the street, you were experiencing the soundscape from a very different angle. This was very powerful. So if you wanted to listen to someone, to a specific group, for example, to this one, you really needed to go closer to them. And so you could change the sonic bubbles, kind of joining this and that. Yes, and all these groups, all of them, played songs that were historically meaningful, not the new ones, but the older ones. Some new ones like Kalush Orchestra, Stefania also. But let's jump into the layer that is so new in this context, algorithmic battles. So we know Ukrainian word palyanytsia. Palyanytsia is a loaf of bread, translated from English language to English language. So at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, when the war was full-scale war was so new, and the processes that were happening, and the speech restrictions on internet and the bans that came from Russian government were a little bit different compared to how they function now, what they look like now. They had different goals at this moment. At this moment, they believed that war will last several days, a couple of weeks. So many people in Russia didn't know yet that Russian army is already in Ukraine, first days of the full-scale invasion. And there were several strategies that Russian soldiers were applying. One of the strategies was they took Ukrainian forces uniform and went to Ukrainian units in the places where they were very close and pretended they were Ukrainians. They pretended they were from Ukrainian army. And if they spoke Russian, they could understand each other. So sometimes it worked, and Ukrainians believed. And you can imagine it didn't end well for Ukrainian units. And when this kind of blew up and became public that this is happening, Ukrainians they suddenly realized, hey, we actually have our language, and this can be a weapon. So let's ask those guys who come to us, because they cannot just, shoot the person who comes to them, but it can be Ukrainian soldier as well. They invented a strategy. They asked this person to say a Ukrainian word that would automatically let one hear the Russian accent, because you would hear the Russian accent in this word. So they asked them to say palyanytsia. And this worked so well because it really enabled Ukrainian units to uncover the Russian spies in this context. And it became so popular on digital networks and kind of, it made waves. And the whole case came up to the larger Russian propaganda TV shows, including the Olga Zaitseva-Herz one of the most largest ones in Russia that are really popular. And she spoke about that because also she wanted to inform Russian soldiers, hey guys, learn this word. But the funny thing is that when she spoke about the word, she said something like, hey, Ukrainians, they think like we're not smart. They ask us to pronounce this word. Guys, learn this word. But when she mentioned the word, she mispronounced it again in a new way. And you can imagine what kind of excited laughs and digital memes it brought on social media. So she said not palyanytsia, but polunitsia, which is a totally different word, again, which is strawberry and not bread in Ukrainian. So new memes appeared, and memes that became songs appear too. So let's jump into the word, into the song, and This is the lyrics of the song, by the way. There are so many interesting references. I won't have time to dig into everything, but this song is literally speaking about many strategies in the front and reference so many things that are meaningful in Ukrainian history. And also, again, the meaning of palyantsia as bread, specifically in the context of Ukrainian resistance against Russian domination, is also very meaningful. So let's jump into this one. So the whole celebration of culture, and we can dance, and we can do this and that. And there is literally a field work from the front line, say palyantsia, and then the Russian soldier answers. So there's a bunch of examples like that. And one very interesting example, too, that I really want to describe you today, and what unites this example with another one is, again, the power of Ukrainian language that, interestingly, popped up with a different meaning in the context of the full-scale invasion. Again, right at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, when more and more Ukrainian soldiers were coming to Ukraine, many died. Many were fallen on Ukrainian lands around the cities, in the cities and villages. And Russian government denied the official requests from Ukrainian government to pick up the bodies. And this is actually a normal process in the war that is regulated, that one country, if there is a war, one country needs to pick up the bodies of the legal soldiers. But Russian government didn't want to uncover this because they were again thinking, okay, a little bit more and then we will get it and then the war will be over. They didn't want people in Russia to know this because they were afraid of revolution. They were afraid of people who will stand up and rise because they will learn where the men were. So that's were the thoughts of the beginning phase. So their problem in Ukraine became so big that the amount of these bodies was so high that Ukrainian diasporas, and maybe you remember this moment, all around the world started looking for the body bags to remove the bodies. Ukrainian government decided to do this by themselves. They needed to do something because it was close to the ecological disaster, the amount. So there were multiple articles and calls for, like, let's raise money, we're looking for the body bags. So it became quite a popular issue. And Ukrainian singer Masha Kondratenko decided to create, how I love calling this, a Trojan horse case. She recorded a song in Ukrainian language that sounded like a children's song about not a children's toy, but it sounded like a children's toy, Vanka Vstanka. So this Vanka Vstanka was in Ukrainian language, and so it enabled the song to go deep into the country and wasn't still staying kind of misunderstood, contextually interesting in Russia. The song went so viral, it reached almost 50 million clicks on YouTube only, and it went viral in Russia and in Ukraine, where many teenagers, not only teenagers, were recording TikTok dance. So let's look into the song. So this song had so many things in it to make it go viral. And it sounded like it could be a children's song, and the name of it was children's song. So I have a recording of how this song was played in the Russian kindergarten somewhere in Siberia during the some kind of celebration of something. They made children dance to that. So, yeah, but there are so many symbols. You can see that this kind of gopnik, right, look that the girls have here, her patologanatomichny, a little bit like body back-like look that she wears. And she basically sings, Vanka Vstanka, if you come to us, please, bring your own body back. So you can imagine what happened in Russia when it came out. What is she singing about? Why it came out so late? This is a really good question. It's a very question. But it came out that late that the song was already everywhere. And you can guess how algorithms work. By the time when it came out, they realized, oh my gosh, this is discrimination of Russian army. What is she singing about? And everybody, not everybody, many people in Russia recorded videos with their happy faces dancing to that, like pro-Ukrainian message, like how they felt at this moment. So then there were so many articles appearing in Russian press about, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Whoever posts this will face horrible penalties. But what it does with the song, it pushes the algorithms again. It fuels them. So the song became more and more popular. And the fact that it was in Ukrainian language enabled it to go so far, which is a very interesting case. But let's look into a couple of songs that are popular in Russia nowadays. So let's just look into this. Oh my gosh. Even my computer cannot anymore. I'm sorry. Yes. It's like, computer is like, I'm not doing that. Okay.
Идет война, вставай, страна, плечом к плечу, к спине спина. Судьба такая нам дана, нужна победа лишь одна. Сильна Россия в трудный час, идет война не в первый раз. Идет война не за Донбасс, война за всех, за нас. А враг стоит уж у дверей, за русский мир вставай скорей. Калмык, татарин и еврей, за жен, детей и матерей. Идет война, война идет, вставай, великий наш народ. Вставай, как в 41-й год, и нечисть не пройдет. Вставай, Россия, святая сила, вставай, страна на смертный бой. Вставай, Россия, святая сила, вставай, твой Бог всегда с тобой. Европа вновь сошла с ума, вскормив бандеровцев сама, дала им в руки.
Okay. I apologize for that. I'm so sorry. But I think it's so powerful to make this reference. And the lyrics is literally, everything that we can hear in Russian TV about why we had to, they also later say NATO is already standing here, like they were going to attack us. And there are many more references like that, like even they say Russian Holocaust. This is what Ukraine is doing to Russians. So basically explain to people in Russia like why we need to do that. Also repeating the narratives like in the year 1941. So this is very powerful and very dangerous, as we can see. And also musically very interesting. Every next verse goes a little bit up, a little bit up, a little bit up, which makes you psychologically in a higher tension. You're getting into this tension. Maybe you have seen another case as well. So this is Russian popular singer. His name is, scenic name is Shaman. His passport name is Yaroslav Dronov. He is known as the favorite singer of Putin, and his performances, he's mainly like main pop figure in Russia since 2022, plays in all Kremlin concerts. And his performances are very famous for incorporating these political shows and narratives of the current invasion in the stage. So, for example, here he's pressing the red button symbolically, sending the message to the West about this supremacy of Russian military power. But that's very interesting that Ukrainians are framed as Nazis, and they say again, as you have noticed in the first song, like Ukrainians are Nazis, Ukrainians are collaborators. This is how they are framed in the narratives. But at the same time, his scenic imagery, how it is used, how he is dressed, you will find some parallels. So the video that I will show you next is not my creation. It's just a comparison. On the left side, there is a video from a Nazi a film about Nazis. On the right side, a real video of Yaroslav Dronov with his song and his song to this. Okay, including the camera, so not occasionally, right? There are so many parallels here, and this is his song and his video to that, right, on the right side. So, but speaking of the red button, some wonder how do people in Russia actually react to this? So this is, for example, a shortcut video from his performance, and his listeners are many young people as well, right? So we, on the Russian stage, nowadays we can see many people who are established figures in the Soviet time, like Gazmanov, who is never getting older. So it's, of course, a very useful thing to reframe already known figure, because they are, they are known in not just in Russia, but also the countries that were part of Soviet Union. So it is a very good platform. But he is the one, he is way younger. He is the one who speaks to the younger generation and plays in occupied territories in Ukraine as well, so like Donetsk and Crimea. So let's look into this one. Yeah, I am as I am, you won't break me because I am Russian and I go till the end. That's what he sings here. All right, all right. There are more songs like that. This is a pop song that was created to celebrate a nuclear, intercontinental nuclear missile in 2022. I think I will go to the next slide. And I can, if you're interested, I'm happy to send you this one. So this one is performed by Denis Maidanov. It's also a very famous Russian popular singer. That's the one. So speaking of Ukrainian territories, temporarily occupied by Russia, music is employed as a very powerful weapon on those territories as well. So this, for example, is a screenshot of a homepage of the Radio Crimea that runs a program that is called Song at War. And I had a look today. They have aired now 741 series of this program. It runs Monday till Friday, 1 full hour, and this 1 full hour is filled with the songs about Russian military power and about fighting against Nazis in this context. Ukraine, as they label it. So it's just an example. Yeah, this is also citation from there. They also encourage people to send their own songs and listen to the songs that are written heroically in the trenches, which again is a reference to the Second World War and the Great Patriotic War, as it is called in Russia. But there is also Ukrainian protest, a pro-Ukrainian protest on the occupied territories. For example, last year on Valentine's Day, on February 14th, Ukrainian non-violent underground movement Zla Mavka conducted a kind of a symbolic action where they secretly recorded messages of pro-Ukrainian content and statements on this, heart-shaped cards, photographed them, and posted them on Telegram. As you can see, the nail is blurred here. This is why they do this, because they are afraid to be recognized, of course, in Russia. But there were multiple cards like that, multiple statements like that, and they were sent from different parts of occupied Ukrainian territories. And this is also interesting that here they reference a song that is also kind of bringing the folklore sheen here. This song is also very meaningful for Ukrainian resistance during the full-scale invasion. The song «Буде тобі враже, так як відьма скаже». This song kind of revives also the whole witchery motifs that are present in Ukrainian folklore also, of course. But also, I have seen the song being posted and used very often on social media as a symbolic revenge in the context where Ukrainians, specifically women, lacked power to resist some kind of violence from the side of Russian soldier, but they wanted to demonstrate that there will be revenge coming from somewhere up. You just know that. And this song was symbolically used for that. All right. This is a video that was recorded also on the in Berdyansk, in the port, by one guy. So this was the day when Ukrainian forces destroyed a Russian military ship, Saratov, and they denied this publicly. I know this port very well because I grew up there. This is where I spent my summers, where my grandfather had lived and had the house. So he is standing. So this guy is a Ukrainian teenager, actually, who came to the port just to demonstrate that they hit the ship, actually. And he's pretending like he's recording a video, but he sees that there are Russian soldiers coming to them, and his friend is filming. And he's pretending like, oh, okay, then I will just move. So this is quite a powerful statement. Yeah, and she's playing again the same song. So he recorded posted this song when he was able to leave the occupied territories. One very interesting thing that I would like to talk about is artificial intelligence, of course. Because this is looking at how music has been changing the power and gaining more power, and of course using all the new resources that are available and not available on digital fronts. At some point, there were artificial AI-generated songs that appeared. And of course, when they were very, very new, people did not know what that is. There are still many people who don't aware of the fact that there can be a generated song that they are listening to. But a very interesting case in 2023, when Ukraine was preparing the counteroffensive to gain the occupied territories, there was a big digital campaign, media campaign attached to that when Ukraine was trying to get people into the army, of course. At the same time, there appeared songs, also in Ukrainian language, by the way, about how uncool it is actually to be in Ukrainian army. So those songs looked like many Ukrainian men would record them and post them and show how they celebrate being not drafted, being not on the front, but being somewhere in Mallorca or going ski in the Alps or somewhere else. So all the songs, and it was quite interesting because they all had same content, but different melodies. Different people recorded them. And I started looking into this and I was wondering who is recording them. So this is just an example. This was a band promoted as Kharkivsky Clay Band, one of the most popular bands in Ukraine, played all festivals, very well known. And I looked into them, so one single song they had just about this celebration of draft evasion. Okay, and then I looked into this picture and I thought, interesting, these guys look very unusual. So they look very, very similar. You can see the parts of the body, they proportionally not always very, matching. The heads are extremely similar. This guy has glasses, but nothing is holding these glasses. This one has Vikinga hand, and the guy on the left side has 2 watches. So those are very classical elements for AI-generated pictures. So somebody created that and pretended like those are Ukrainian men, Ukrainian bands who create the songs. I will play you this song very briefly. Why I cannot use this volume? That's maximum. Yeah, so you can, I hope, sorry, I don't know why it's not, we need new batteries here, I guess. Yeah, so проснувся, ухильнувся, народився, ухилився, like I'm not going to the army. And so this is, of course, also AI-generated video, pretends like Zelensky is celebrating, tra-la-la. And I was looking into that, and I didn't find any real people behind this case, which is very interesting. But then I have seen that there was, at some point, an official statement from Ukrainian intelligence that said that actually these AI-generated songs is an organized strategy that's coming from Moscow. At the same time, folk songs were created for such content, the lyrics of which always contain the main message, praise of evaders, so draft dodging. The synchronicity and the appearance of numerous songs and the videos that heroify men who refuse to stand up for their country, the anonymity of the authors, and the promotion of this content by organized groups of bots indicates a focused hostile propaganda campaign. Which is wow, because this is the first time where AI-generated songs were applied in a real war on the digital front to impact the physical front. Yeah, and there were many more songs like that, of course, but I hope you'll have some questions and we can discuss these cases further. Thank you so much for your attention.